Chosen one, you did not arrive here by chance. This moment found you because heaven aligned time, breath, and attention to draw you to this message. Before you pressed play, your spirit was already being called. This is a divine appointment, not a coincidence. As Scripture declares in Jeremiah 1 verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." And today, that knowing is stirring within you once again. Chosen one, you are standing on the edge of a supernatural shift. What you are about to hear is not merely revelation, it is activation. There is a transfer in motion, a divine reordering, a release that has been prepared in hidden places for the anointed ones who endured the silence without surrendering their faith. Heaven has not forgotten your season of waiting. According to Habakkuk 2 verse 3, the vision awaits its appointed time, and that time is now pressing against your life with unusual force. Favor, authority, and alignment are moving toward you in ways that will defy logic and silence doubt. This is not only about understanding, it is about alignment. As you listen, let your heart be still, let your spirit rise, and let expectation awaken. Because what follows is not information, it is impartation. Chosen one, stay with me, because what begins here is not meant to entertain your mind, but to awaken what has been sleeping inside your spirit. There are parts of you that were never meant to remain buried forever. They were hidden for a reason, protected by time, waiting for the exact moment heaven would call them forward. If you are hearing this now, it is not random. This moment has been arranged, not early, not late, but exactly on time. Chosen one, Enoch was not merely an ancient figure or a mystical story passed down through generations. He was a man who walked with God so closely that the limits of mortality could no longer contain him. When his eyes were opened beyond the age in which he lived, he did not only see events, he saw people. He saw souls who would be born into a world that could not fully recognize them. He saw lives marked by depth, sensitivity, and an inner fire that could never be explained away as coincidence. He saw you. From an early age, you sensed it, a quiet knowing that you did not fit neatly into the patterns around you. You learned how to function, how to adapt, and how to succeed on the surface, yet beneath it all there was a restlessness you could not silence. You told yourself it would pass once you reached the next goal, the next season, the next level, but it never did. Because what you carry is not ambition, it is assignment. And assignments do not disappear simply because we try to ignore them. Enoch wrote of chosen ones who would feel like strangers even among familiar faces, people who could walk through crowds yet feel unseen, people who carried questions others never seemed to ask about life. Anointed one, feel the weight of this moment. The same God who walked with Enoch beyond death is moving resources, favor, and authority toward you. That was never weakness. That was awareness, an awakening before its time. I know this because I have lived it. I know what it feels like to smile outwardly while carrying an inward weight that words cannot capture, to appear strong while privately wrestling with a sense that life must mean more than survival. Chosen one, understand this now. Heaven does not awaken destiny without provision. God does not stir purpose without also arranging supply. The same vision that marked you also protected you. There is a transfer connected to your awakening, not only spiritual insight, but tangible movement in your life. Favor, access, provision, and alignment are being released, not because you forced them, but because your heart has been prepared to carry them without losing itself. There was a season in my life when, chosen one, as this awakening deepens, you must understand that what Enoch saw was not limited to identity alone. He saw movement. He saw timing. He saw moments when heaven would lean so close to earth that the line between spiritual and physical provision would blur. This is one of those moments. What you have been feeling lately is not confusion, and it is not pressure without purpose. It is alignment. It is the unseen rearranging itself to meet you where obedience and readiness finally intersect. There have been seasons when money felt delayed, when opportunities slipped past you at the last second, when effort did not equal reward. You questioned whether you misunderstood your calling or whether faith was supposed to feel this heavy, but Enoch wrote of chosen ones who would be trained through lack before being trusted with overflow. Not because God withholds, but because character must be able to carry what faith first releases. What is coming toward you is not random increase. It is stewardship-level provision, chosen one. Heaven is not just preparing to bless you. Heaven is preparing to position you. There is a difference. Blessing without placement leads to waste. Placement without blessing leads to burnout. But when both arrive together, life changes at its foundation. Enoch saw chosen ones stepping through doors that felt sudden to outsiders, yet were decades in the making. He saw resources released from unexpected places, assistance arriving through channels no human strategy could predict. I have seen this pattern play out in real life. Moments when exhaustion was followed by access, when the last option gave way to the right connection, when surrender unlocked doors that striving never could. Often, the breakthrough did not announce itself loudly. It came quietly disguised as a conversation, an idea, a shift in direction that felt small until it wasn't. That is how divine transfer often works. It feels subtle at first, then irreversible. Chosen one, this is why distractions have increased. This is why comfort has tempted you to settle. Enoch warned that before the release, there would be invitations to compromise. Not dramatic sins, but quiet detours. Opportunities that look safe, but shrink your vision. Relationships that feel familiar, but drain your clarity. Voices that encourage delay under the disguise of wisdom. These are not attacks of chaos. They are strategies of delay. You are not being rushed, but you are being summoned. Heaven is asking for clarity of choice, not perfection, but commitment. Not fearlessness, but obedience. As Scripture reminds us in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, when you seek first the kingdom, everything else aligns into place. Provision follows priority. Increase follows alignment. Chosen one, what lies ahead will require courage, but it will also bring rest. A different kind of rest. The rest of finally walking in rhythm instead of resistance. The rest of knowing you are not chasing, but receiving. The rest of seeing God move on your behalf in ways that silence old doubts. This is not the end of struggle, but it is the end of confusion. Stay attentive, because what unfolds next will explain why the waiting lasted as long as it did, and why the release could not come any sooner. Chosen one, there is a reason your spirit has felt unusually alert lately, even when your body felt tired. That alertness is not anxiety. It is awareness sharpening. Enoch saw that before the final phase of awakening, the chosen ones would experience a heightened sensitivity to truth, timing, and deception. You begin to notice what drains you. You recognize what aligns with you. You sense when something looks good but feels wrong. This is not overthinking. This is discernment maturing. In past seasons, you may have ignored that inner signal. You reasoned your way out of it. You explained away the discomfort. You stayed longer than you should have because logic told you to endure, but something has changed. The tolerance you once had for misalignment is gone. What used to feel manageable now feels heavy. What once felt normal now feels off. That is not rebellion. That is refinement. Chosen one, Enoch wrote that the marked ones would eventually reach a point where they could no longer betray themselves to keep peace with others. This stage is uncomfortable because it forces honesty. You begin to admit that some relationships cannot go where you are being called. Some environments cannot sustain the frequency you now carry. Some patterns must end, not because they are evil, but because they have expired. I remember the moment this became clear in my own life. Nothing dramatic happened. No argument, no collapse. Just a quiet realization that staying comfortable was costing me clarity. I felt God withdraw the grace to remain where I had outgrown. What once felt neutral began to feel restrictive. That was not rejection. That was redirection, and it hurt more than I expected because growth often requires releasing what once protected you. Chosen one, this is where trust becomes essential. When God begins to reposition you, He rarely explains every step. He asks for obedience before understanding. Enoch saw chosen ones walking away from familiar ground without a full map, guided only by an inner, knowing that staying would cost them more than leaving.